Hey there, everybody in Skewer Nation. Welcome back to another RSG, the guide that we're doing here. We haven't really touched on it on the raid. I'm your boy Ranger J 1999, and just always joining me is my man, my heterosexual other life mate, the Carth, the Welling Cannoneer.
What's happening?
What's going on, bud? And we're going to talk about the raid. And there's been a lot of videos out there. There's been videos about talking about the raid and the disappointment and stuff like that. We're not here to do that today. We're just going to hear and talk about some stuff that to help you understand the raid a little bit better, do a run or two so you guys can see it and understand some of the mechanics. And by the way, I'll be Carth will, because I'll be trying to run the ship here as we do this. But yeah, we're gonna get into some team makeups and why you want these certain teams, and some some things that you can do to make your run a little bit better. Things of that nature. There's some stuff out there like Leia solo. If you want to go do that, go watch the video. We're not going to show that today. We just want to show the teams and things of that nature. Some combinations that you may want to attempt when you do these. So with that, Carth, I think we're ready to dive in, my friend. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. So I'm going to go to the highest tier, tier 9. We'll hit battle. And I've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 relic 8s. But the problem is I don't have a third Imperial. And that's one of the things that we may want to attempt here. We'll start with Leia. My goal is to get another Imperial to Relic 8. It's going to be Iden, and then I'll get another one. So I'll have an even. My goal here, Carth, and we'll talk about it. But let's talk about the Imperials. Well, let's talk about the team makeup. Like, what are we looking for in a team? Let's say you are going to do 3, whether it's tier 6 or tier 5 of the raid, tier 4. What are we looking for a team makeup here? Let's say we're going to do Leia. We got these other two homies there. If I don't have it, that's fine. But we'll talk about what we can add and what we want to.
So for Leia, it's just kind of an all-out race on getting to the higher tiered like shadow troopers and commanders, and then just smashing them with her ultimate, and then just kind of timing things out properly for that. So what complements Leia for the most part is going to be kind of finessing the mods a little bit. But as for characters, I mean, like her and Drogon can two-man for about 2 million or more. The other ones, it just kind of depends, but you might get another 400,000 points out of adding like Luke or something to this team, or maxing it out. That's also a possibility with running with this if you don't want to do the Leia solo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's usually your first beginnings of your setup, and then after that, when we're looking at characters for the remaining basically 7 battles, you're wanting a combination of characters that there's a sect of Imperial troopers that have evasion on their kits or their raid kits, and then
Mm-hmm.
you want to pair that with rebels that have evasion on their raid kits. And then what happens is that Imperial troopers deal bonus damage for every stack present of evasion present on all allies. So the you burn through it really fast and you get lots of damage. And then you just nuke things because the rebels just kind of stack almost in perpetuity.
So
So
let's say we have the Leia team with Drogon. We're gonna go in there and try to get 2 million, right?
sure.
We let's say those weren't available. I do that first, and then I want to put a team
So
together.
the most common R8s is going to come next. Is probably going to be Piet and Han.
Okay, so we go Piet,
The
and then
they
we go Han. Okay.
Yeah, they can duo for quite high, and if you remod them, you can I think people have been maxing with it, I want to say.
Okay.
If not, you could always throw C3PO in here and use that as just a third until we get confirmation from CG that they're going to nerf the cheese.
Mm-hmm. And then
C3PO is a good third to always have present.
so we could have this as a second team, and then
Yeah.
as a third team that would leave, since we're not using Luke, my Rex, and then Scout Trooper. Different combination. You get the Imperial Trooper.
This would work, but you don't. Neither Luke nor Rex are evasion rebels.
Right. So that's why I'm saying
So
let's talk about it. Why would we?
realistically, you would probably want to at this point drop down a tier and go, even though you're going to lose a few points there, you're going to get better teams by dropping down a tier and picking up some of your R7 rebels or other characters that you have to go with
which
it.
we can do. So I'll go down a tier. I don't know what I got at tier 5. Let me look here real quick. Let's go down to tier 5 and talk about what we could do here with that. So, not you guys. We don't want you guys. So, the only one that gets added to here is
Kanisa.
Kanisa. Yeah. So,
And she's also not one of the
right.
she's not an evasion Ewok, so you'd have to start dropping down quite far after that. So it just gets to a point where this raid becomes down to a, where do you want to put your relic investments? And
Right.
so for a lot of people, like Leia in a team is usually, if you got Leia, that's pretty low hanging fruit. If you Then you have like Piet and Han, there are already other GL requirements, so they're usually ready to go. And then everyone else is like, you got to either commit to R7, a couple R7s or a couple R5s, and kind of get the teams brought up.
So, like, from Imperial Troopers and Rebels, we would want to focus in on um, what are some of the ones that we would want to use for this team. I'll go lower tier so we can look at everybody. Not here. If I can learn how to click, that would be great. So we'll just go like the lowest tier. I'll just pick this because all my characters are relic. So if we were to pick our ideal teams together, Leia, Drogon, right? Um, for Imperials, like what are some Imperials and Rebels we should take up to higher relics to get a better score? We already talked about Han. We already know about these guys. There's a couple other ones we want to tell the folks out there that you can see I'm doing Iden. Um, is there any other ones that we would want to shoot for here with all the different options we have
So
here?
yeah, the rebels that are kind of the rebels are the better investment for the evasion characters that they have. Just because the Ewoks are kind of all lackluster, and the only one you would have at relics through normal gameplay progression would be Chief Chirpa. So that one's a hard one to bite into. But
Mm-hmm.
there are 5 rebels that are their evasion characters, which is Han, Captain Drogon, C3PO, Harrison Dula, and Akbar.
Right.
So you can kind of split that up into different leaderships. And then your evasion troopers are Iden, Moff Gideon, Scout Trooper, Colonel Stark, Shore Trooper, and Range Trooper. So to a degree, you want to mix at least one of the Imperial Troopers with one of the evasion Ewoks or Rebels. And then if you have the depth to do a third, you can add that. Because so what I'm running on one of mine is going to be like Hera, Captain Rex, and then Scout Trooper. And that gives me my evasion characters, but then Rex is just going to be what Captain Rex does. My account has Chewie at R8, so I'm going to do Piet Han and Chewie,
Mm-hmm.
and then change up the modding on them a little bit to more adequately
Had
fall
to do
into
it.
what the build comps are. But it's just kind of that mentality is taking some of these characters and then mixing them properly. You got to adjust the mods a little bit on them. Um, Troopers they want to aim for about 10,000 damage. They want about 80% crit chance. You want to throw a crit damage triangle on them. You want them as fast as you can get them. And then the rebel Ewoks, it's about tenacity. Because the more tenacity you have, the more evasion stacks you keep when you evade. So you build up faster and whatnot. So that's just kind of the back and forth on those two, and then from there it's just finesse your mods and then go in and
So the
use
question,
everything that doesn't add jam.
so the question is, how far should players, depending on what box they're going for? Let's say they want the 420, because the first box before the what is it 426, or what's the tier of boxes? Let me put this up real quick. Um, for their guild, right? So if you look at guild rewards, you can see here it goes up to 208 and then 424. There's a big jump between 208 and 424. Now we are shooting for 424, which means each guild person in our guild has to average 8.5. If that is
Yeah.
something Not the 665 or the 832. There's no talk about those. That's high end content.
That's
You better have a
that's a little product further down the road.
yeah. So let's say we're shooting for 424, and we want to average 8.5. Um, can that be achieved with what relic level? With what? How many tunes
So,
would you say you'd have to get to relic 8? With the way the rate's currently
well,
constructed, and then relic 7.
if you've got Leia, then you need basically two teams that can go in at the tier 6. Well, those are relic 8s.
Yeah.
Which that should be pretty doable for those that have Leia, because Leia can solo for max banners, and then Piet Han can do another run on their own as well and still get about 2 million. So, and if you mod it, you can get to about 2.5 million. There is some finessing with the strategy on that one, can get you
Right.
some more points. But with those two teams, you're already looking at 4.5 million damage. So you're already halfway there with those four teams, or with just those two teams. So it leaves you six more to average another 900,000 points per.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to do crazy amounts of investing into this, then you would probably want to do two teams at R7, and then the rest of them can be done at R5 or R3. Either one is fine, because basically if you can get two more teams at R7 and average like 1.3 to 1.5, then you're going to walk away with basically another 3 million with 4 battles left to do. And then you've already done 7, so you need like 4 battles to get like an average of like 500,000 points.
Right.
So you're better off probably looking at it from the perspective of you need two teams to do tier 6, two teams to do tier 5, and then the rest of your roster can do whatever that you need it to hit that tier. So it shouldn't be a ton of relic investment, because oddly enough in this raid, two manning is usually almost just as effective as having three people on the team. So
Now that's if you are
it's
actually committing to doing the actual raid, which some people are just putting it on auto. And if that's the
yes.
case, you're going to have to go much higher on the tiers to get the scores that you need, right? My goal of this is just to have 4 teams of 3 that can get 2 million each, and then just be done with it. Put on auto, come back. Oh, 2.3 million. I'll take that. Oh, another 2.3 million. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'm not too bothered by that. So, but if you're going to commit to it and do it, then yeah, you got to commit to actually doing the raid, which I know it's that's for another video, but yeah, looking at that raid for a while. So I think if you have a good plan, then you can do it. Anything else?
Well,
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
the thing of it is too is that like all I'm doing right now is I've got 3 mod sets on my roster that I when this current raid that we're doing right now goes live, I'm gonna slap those, just the different, because they're for the roles, right? It's the EM Trooper, the EM Rebel, which is evasion moveset for the EM part, and then I have an offensive character, so that's just another damage dealer. So that's the role that they fill. Um, and that's the only 3 mod sets I've got for this whole thing, except for Leia. Leia's got her own thing for her solo, because she has very specific stats you have to hit for that. And I'm gonna just basically see if I do that, how much of my score improves over the one only having to go through and equip the 3 mod sets down the entire list. So
Yeah,
that's going to be the main thing to kind of fuss with. Is modding does drastically help improve your score, but if you don't want to do a mod set for every single character you have that you're going to take into the raid, you can kind of broad stroke it. It will improve your runs without having to get nitty gritty on, oh my God, I gotta have 30 new mod sets for this loadout or this
right.
raid or whatever else. So
Plus the relic levels and things of that nature. So
yeah.
yeah, it does mod the relics do make a difference because you're adding stats, and stats always equal better stuff for the raid. So but with that, yeah, let us know in the comments some of the runs and characters that you're seeing and what you're finding with the raid. and what you're trying to shoot for as a guild and things of that nature. You leave those in the comments. This will go up immediately after we get done recording it. So make sure you like and subscribe and leave all those comments. So that's just a little bit of the breakdown of the raid, some of the things that we're seeing so far. I'm sure this is organic and it'll change over time. So with that, on behalf of myself and Carth, you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time on RSG.